Right, so buckle up, everybody, because today's deep dive is taking a turn. We're going to look at something most motivational posters don't want to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
The spectacular crashes and burns of billionaires.
Yeah, because everybody wants to talk about the self-made success stories, but they kind of skip over the part where...
It almost went very wrong.
Yeah, it almost went completely off the rails.
Yeah, and we're talking even folks like Steve Jobs and Elon Musk. Like, nobody's safe.
Right.
These guys are considered like the titans
You demigod.
of like our current time and age. And we're going to look at some of their, shall we say, slip-ups. We've got Reddit threads about Tesla's Falcon Wing doors that are just brutal. We've got YouTube videos digging into Jobs' past. There's some juicy stuff and some biographies that we're going to get into. So, like, what is the mission here? What can we learn by looking at the failures of these guys?
Well, I think it's a great question. And when we look at these failures, we can kind of get a better picture of, like, where's the line between ambition and innovation and just straight up bad choices.
So let's start with the Tesla Falcon Wing doors. This Reddit thread is just, like, amazing. You've got owners that are like, these are the best doors ever. And then you got people posting videos of them malfunctioning in, like, just hilarious ways.
It's well, it's an example of pushing the envelope when it comes to technology and design, and maybe forgetting about practicality and reliability.
Like, hey, let's make the doors open upwards. It'll be like a spaceship. And then it rains, and your car is like a high-tech bathtub.
Right. The idea is there, but the execution... We'll say that it brings up some questions about what are the trade-offs between functionality and innovation.
And this kind of reminds me of, like, Elon Musk's early days at Tesla, where, I mean, everything I've read, it's like he was constantly on the verge of disaster. You're talking financial problems, production delays. This guy was practically living in the factory.
Yeah, those early years were really something. Like, he had this manic drive. He was selling his personal belongings to keep the company afloat, sleeping under his desk. It's almost like Shakespearean, the intensity.
Like the entrepreneur's version of to be or not to be, except the question was, like, to launch or to go bankrupt.
Right, and we can't forget about Musk's management style. I mean, he was famous for demanding perfection, pushing his team to the limit. There's even stories about him paying for an employee's sex surgery.
What?
So they could see better and work faster.
Oh, hold on. He paid for someone's eye surgery to make them work more. That is dedication.
Right.
On another level.
Right.
Or maybe just unhinged. I don't know.
It's a little blurry, isn't it? Is it brilliant leadership, or is it something a little more obsessive? Where does dedication end and unhealthy behavior begin?
And is that kind of intensity what led to those Falcon Wing doors in the first place? It's like, well, they might not work, but they look cool.
That's the question, right? Does the pursuit of, like, the wow factor sometimes come at the cost of, like, practicality and basic functionality?
Okay, well, speaking of questionable decisions, let's switch gears to Steve Jobs, because there's this YouTube series we found, and they tease this terrible secret from his past.
Oh, yeah, the terrible secret.
But they're very vague about it. It's like they want to draw you in, you know?
Well, it's a good reminder that even people who we see as, like, these untouchable innovators, they've got their own share of...
skeletons.
Yeah, skeletons in the closet. Less than stellar moments.
And Jobs had quite a few, even before we get to this so-called big reveal. I mean, this is a guy who got kicked out of Apple. His NXT computer was a total flop, and his personality, let's just say, it wasn't winning him any popularity contests.
Yeah, his early career, it was this roller coaster of, like, pure genius and just interpersonal challenges, we'll call them. You look at his treatment of Daniel Kotke, one of the original Apple employees, a friend of his from back in the day.
Kotke, the guy who helped build Apple from the ground up.
Exactly.
And Jobs basically told him, thanks for the memories, but no stock options for you.
Ouch.
That's brutal.
Yeah, and it just shows this tendency towards ruthlessness that sometimes we forget about when we're talking about his successes. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, right? The YouTube series, this terrible secret.
Yeah, lay it on us. What's the big reveal?
Steve Jobs denied paternity of his daughter, Lisa.
Oh, wow.
A decision that had huge ethical implications, and it definitely had a lasting impact on her life.
And it raises so many questions like, how does someone who's capable of that level of denial later become the face of Think Different, the guy who's all about creativity and breaking the mold?
It's an interesting paradox, isn't it? Both Jobs and Musk were known for wanting things to be perfect, sometimes at a huge cost to the people around them. Is there a connection there? Is that part of why they were so successful? Or is it just a coincidence?
So we got these two figures, larger than life. They pushed boundaries, they demanded perfection, and sometimes they were just, well, jerks. Is that like a billionaire recipe? Do you have to have a little bit of ruthlessness in there to make it to the top?
It's a good question, isn't it? Are these failures, are they just part of the process? Are they necessary to achieve this unreasonable success?
So are you saying there's like a secret formula for failure that leads to billionaire level wins?
Maybe not a formula, but maybe there's a pattern.
Yeah.
The real question is, can we learn from their mistakes without repeating the bad behavior? Can we take the good stuff without the, we'll say, character building opportunities?
Right, because I don't think anyone wants to be known as the tech genius who denied their kid or the visionary who made his employees cry.
Right, there's got to be a better way.
So what can we learn? Besides the obvious, don't be afraid to blow up a rocket or two.
Well, first of all, you got to think big, right?
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to set those huge, ambitious goals, even if they seem a little
Crazy.
unreasonable.
Even if everyone's telling you you're nuts.
Especially if everyone's telling you you're nuts.
Okay.
Because those unreasonable goals, that's what makes us do things that we never thought we could.
Yeah.
But you got to be willing to take risks, right? Get outside that comfort zone.
Calculated risks, though.
Of course, of course. Every successful entrepreneur has a mix of like craziness and practicality. You got to know when to push and when to hold back. And finally, you got to learn from those mistakes, figure out what went wrong, take the lesson, and then use that to do better next time.
Right, okay. Learn from your mistakes. Don't be afraid to dream big. Is there anything else that stands out about Jobs and Musk that contributed to their success, besides their tendency to push people really hard?
Well, they both had like these life-altering experiences that really shaped their worldviews and ultimately their approach to innovation. Like Jobs was deeply influenced by Zen Buddhism and Japanese design aesthetics. You can actually see that in the simple designs and intuitive interfaces of Apple products.
Didn't his love for calligraphy play a role in the design of the Macintosh fonts?
Exactly.
It's kind of amazing that a calligraphy class can lead to a revolution in computer typography.
Well, it shows you that Jobs could find inspiration in the most unexpected places. And speaking of unexpected, let's talk about Elon Musk and his fascination with science fiction.
Of course.
Yeah.
The guy wants to colonize Mars. I bet he got that from somewhere other than an engineering textbook.
Yeah, I mean, Musk was obsessed with science fiction novels as a kid. He dreamed about things like space travel and all this advanced technology that seemed impossible at the time. And somehow he managed to turn those dreams into reality.
So are you saying we need to have some sort of like epiphany, some life-changing moment to achieve unreasonable success? Should we all be signing up for calligraphy classes and watching Star Wars marathon?
Maybe not exactly, but those transformative experiences can definitely have a big impact on our outlook and our goals. It's all about being open to new experiences, pushing yourself outside your comfort zone, and embracing the unknown.
So we need to be open to those moments when the light bulb goes off, those times when our whole perspective changes.
Yeah, it could be anything, really. A random conversation, a book that changes your thinking, or even a failure that forces you to see things differently.
Okay, I get it. But what if we've had that light bulb moment and we're ready to change the world? How do we actually turn those big ideas into action? Where do we even begin?
Well, that's where the idea of a breakthrough achievement comes in.
All right, break it down for us. What is a breakthrough achievement and how do we get one?
It's that moment, that accomplishment that changes everything. It's the thing you become known for, like Jobs in the Macintosh or Musk in the Falcon 9 rocket.
So it's about finding the one big idea that makes you a legend.
It's a little more than that. A breakthrough achievement takes vision, strategy, and perfect execution. You got to find a problem that really needs solving, come up with a brilliant solution, and then refuse to give up until it becomes real.
Okay, vision, strategy, execution. But how do we actually find that breakthrough? Is it just luck, being in the right place at the right time, or is there something more to it?
It's a little bit of both. You need to really know your field, whatever that may be. You need to see where there's room for something new and innovative.
So don't follow the trends. See where the trends are going and get ahead of them, like some kind of tech Nostradamus.
Right, you got to be able to see the potential before anyone else does. But vision isn't enough. You need a plan to make it happen.
So you need a roadmap to get from point A to point B.
Exactly. A breakthrough achievement means thinking strategically, figuring out the steps to bring your idea to life, and be ready to change your plan if you need to.
Vision, strategy, flexibility.
Got it. But what about execution? How do we actually make these big ideas happen? Do we just cross our fingers and hope for the best?
That's where things get interesting. You need a certain set of skills and qualities to execute well, and some of them seem like they contradict each other.
Okay, give me an example. I'm curious.
Well, look at Steve Jobs again. He was demanding, but he was also incredibly persuasive. He could push his team to their limits, but he could also inspire them to achieve amazing things. Like he had that reality distortion field, right? Where he could convince people that anything was possible.
Exactly. And that ability to make people believe in his vision was crucial to his success. But you also need persistence, the willingness to keep going even when things are tough.
Let's be real, building a breakthrough achievement is never easy. You're going to face challenges, roadblocks, and moments when you just want to give up.
Absolutely. But the people who achieve unreasonable success, they have the grit to keep going, even when everyone tells them to quit.
Okay, so embrace the challenges, be resilient, and trust your gut. Got it. But is there anything else we can learn from Jobs and Musk? Anything to help us regular folks achieve our own version of unreasonable success?
There's one more thing that's often overlooked. You have to find your own unique path, your own vehicle for achieving that success.
Okay, I like that. Tell me more about this personal vehicle. What does it look like? How do we find it?
It's that special area where your skills, your passions, and your opportunities all come together. It's what lets you use your talents to make a difference in the world. For Jobs, it was Apple. For Musk, it was Tesla and SpaceX.
It doesn't have to be a tech company though, right? It could be anything, as long as it fits with your values and helps you reach your goals.
Exactly. And remember, this personal vehicle can change over time. What worked for you when you were younger might not be the right fit later on. Be adaptable, be ready to change course, and always keep an eye out for new chances to use your skills.
So you're not saying we all have to become the next Steve Jobs or Elon Musk, are you? I mean, they're kind of in a league of their own.
Of course not. Their stories are inspiring, but they're not a blueprint for everyone. The key is to find your own path to unreasonable success, a path that aligns with your values, your passions, and your unique talents.
So don't copy their achievements. Understand the principles that made them successful, and then apply those to our own lives. Find our own rocket to launch or computer to design.
That's it. Because unreasonable success isn't about money or fame, it's about making a real contribution, leaving something behind that matters.
That's a pretty big goal.
Yeah.
But hey, if those guys can do it, maybe there's hope for the rest of us.
Absolutely. Anyone can achieve unreasonable success if they're willing to dream big, take risks, and never give up.
All right, folks, we've covered a lot in this part of our deep dive. We've talked about everything from seeing the future to calligraphy classes to finding your own personal spaceship.
But we're not done yet. There's still a lot to explore when it comes to unreasonable success.
Yeah.
We'll dig even deeper in the next part.
So stay tuned, everyone. Things are about to get even more interesting and maybe even a little more unreasonable.
It's kind of wild when you think about how Jobs and Musk did what they did. I mean, they didn't just luck into success, did they? They had this way of making these crazy leaps of intuition that led to these huge breakthroughs.
So you're saying they had like a secret sauce,
Yeah.
some magic formula for being innovative. Because if you do, I'm all ears.
Not exactly a formula, but maybe a different way of seeing things. Look at Jobs and his whole thing about making computers for everyone. He wanted something simple, easy to use, like a toaster or a refrigerator. That led him to Xerox PARC, where they were working on these graphical user interfaces and the whole idea of a desktop on your computer screen.
Ah, Xerox PARCs, the place where they had all these brilliant ideas but couldn't figure out how to make money from them. What a missed opportunity.
Right. But Jobs, he saw the potential there. With his vision and, let's be honest, his way of convincing people, he turned those ideas into the Macintosh. He didn't just get the tech, he got how it could totally change the way people used computers.
He wasn't just making a machine, he was making an experience.
Exactly. And he was obsessed with the details. Every little thing about the Macintosh, from the way it looked to the tiny icons on the screen, it all had to be perfect. He knew that how people felt using the computer was just as important as the tech itself.
Remember all those stories about him driving his design team crazy over the smallest things? Like how rounded the corners of the icons should be?
Exactly. It was probably maddening for them, but that drive to make things perfect is what made Apple different. It's what made people want their products, not just need them.
Okay, so Jobs could see the future of computers and then build it, all while obsessing over design and how people used it. But what about Musk? How does he fit into this unreasonable success thing?
Musk is different, but his story is just as interesting. He had this almost religious belief that electric cars, solar energy, and going to space were absolutely essential for humanity. and he was willing to risk everything to make it happen.
We're talking about the guy who put all his money into Tesla and SpaceX, even when it looked like they were about to go under.
Exactly. He wasn't driven by getting rich. He was driven by this belief that he was doing something incredibly important, something that would change history. And just like Jobs, he was amazing at pushing boundaries, doing things people thought were impossible.
Like landing a rocket back on Earth so you could use it again? I mean, that was straight out of science fiction until Musk did it.
I know. He doesn't just think outside the box. He's like in a whole different universe. That way of thinking, plus his drive and his willingness to take risks, that's what let him achieve those impossible things.
So both Jobs and Musk, they had this unshakable belief in themselves, this idea that they could change the world. And they weren't afraid to fail big along the way.
Exactly. They saw failures as opportunities to learn, not as setbacks.
No.
Every time something went wrong, it refined their ideas, made their strategies sharper, and ultimately pushed them towards more success.
So you're saying failure is actually important for unreasonable success? Like we should all be excited about messing up and celebrating our mistakes?
Not exactly, but you have to realize that failure is going to happen, especially when you're trying to do big things. It's all about how you react to those failures that makes the difference.
So it's about seeing failure as a stepping stone instead of a roadblock.
Exactly. It's about figuring out what went wrong, learning from it, and then doing better next time. Think about Marie Curie. Poverty, discrimination, even radiation poisoning from her own experiments, she dealt with it all.
But she didn't let those things stop her. She became the first woman to win a Nobel Prize and the only person to win Nobel Prizes in 2 different scientific fields.
Exactly. Now that's unreasonable success. Her story shows you how powerful resilience is. It's the ability to get back up after you've been knocked down and keep moving forward. And a lot of that resilience comes from believing in yourself, from knowing you can reach your goals no matter what.
So it's about having that never give up attitude, that I could do anything kind of mindset.
It's more than just positive thinking. It's about really believing in your abilities, trusting your gut. Remember, Jobs and Musk, they had this crazy confidence in their vision, even when everyone else thought they were nuts.
Like when Jobs insisted on the Macintosh having a graphical user interface.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone thought it was too complicated, but he knew better.
Exactly. He trusted his instincts, he believed in his vision, and he fought for it. And that's what led to the Macintosh's success and changed the whole computer industry.
All right, so we need to embrace those challenges, be resilient, and trust our gut. Got it. But is there anything else we can do to increase our chances of achieving that unreasonable success?
There's one more really important thing. You have to develop your own unique intuition, a sense of what works and what doesn't, a sixth sense for spotting opportunities and avoiding problems.
Okay, how do we get that unique intuition? Are we born with it, or can we order it online with 2-day shipping?
It's a combination of natural ability and experience. Some people are naturally more intuitive, but everyone can improve their intuition by practicing and paying attention.
So be more observant, notice patterns, and trust those gut feelings, like becoming a detective in your own life.
Exactly, and be willing to experiment, try new things, and learn from your mistakes. Intuition isn't about following rules blindly. It's about really understanding your field and then trusting your instincts to guide you.
Kind of like Bill Bain, the guy who founded Bain & Company. He didn't have some fancy business degree, but he was amazing at seeing the potential in companies and coming up with strategies that made them grow like crazy.
Exactly. He was known for his strategic opportunism. It was like he could sense the perfect time to make a move, and then he'd strike with incredible precision.
So he was playing chess while everyone else was struggling with checkers.
Exactly. And that kind of strategic intuition is essential for achieving unreasonable success. It's about knowing when to wait, when to hold back, and then when to seize the opportunity with everything you've got.
So today we've talked about embracing challenges, being resilient, trusting your gut, and developing that strategic intuition. It's like a crash course in how to fail like a billionaire and still come out on top.
Remember, unreasonable success isn't a destination, it's a journey. You're always learning, adapting, and pushing yourself beyond what you think you can do. It's about embracing the unknown, trusting your instincts, and never giving up on your dreams.
Because in the end, unreasonable success isn't about comparing yourself to others. It's about being the best you can be, whatever that looks like. Whether that's launching a rocket, building a business, or finally figuring out that sourdough bread recipe that's been giving you trouble.
Exactly. And you never know, you might even change the world a little bit along the way.
All right, everyone. We've covered a lot today. Everything from seeing the future to calligraphy classes to finding your own personal rocket ship.
But hold on tight, because we're not finished yet. We're going to dive even deeper into this unreasonable success thing in the next part.
So stay tuned, everybody. It's about to get even more interesting, maybe even a little unreasonable. All right, so we've talked about these breakthrough achievements, these personal vehicles, and how to, channel your inner Steve Jobs, but maybe skip the whole black turtleneck thing.
Yeah, but let's be honest. Not everyone's going to invent the next iPhone or build a colony on Mars. Does this unreasonable success stuff even apply to the rest of us who haven't, launched a rocket or started our own fashion line?
Right, because I'd love to have self-folding laundry, but is that, unreasonable enough?
Exactly. Remember, unreasonable success isn't just about those huge world-changing inventions. It's about pushing your own limits, whatever those are. It's about exceeding expectations and making a real impact in your own world.
So it's like leveling up in a video game, but instead of getting XP, you're getting, US points.
Yeah, think of it like unlocking achievements in the game of life. And one of the secrets to unlocking those achievements is learning to love those setbacks, to actually get stronger from them.
Wait, love setbacks? Isn't that a little masochistic? Shouldn't we be trying to avoid failure?
Failure's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
It's just part of the process when you're trying to do ambitious things. But the people who reach that unreasonable success, they don't see setbacks as defeats. They see them as chances to grow and learn.
So it's all about how you look at failure. See it as a stepping stone, not like a trap.
Exactly. You got to analyze what went wrong, learn from it, and then use those lessons to get better. Look at someone like Marie Curie. I mean, she faced poverty, discrimination, even radiation poisoning from her own research.
Wow.
But she didn't let any of that stop her. She became the first woman to win a Nobel Prize and the only person to win Nobel Prizes in 2 different scientific fields.
That is incredible.
Right. Talk about unreasonable success. Her story shows you the power of resilience, that ability to bounce back from tough times and just keep going. And a big part of that comes from believing in yourself, from knowing deep down that you can achieve your goals no matter what.
So it's about having that never give up attitude, right? That I can do this kind of feeling.
It's more than just thinking positive thoughts. It's about having this deep belief in your abilities, a trust in your gut. Jobs and Musk, they had this almost crazy confidence in their vision, even when everyone thought they were wrong.
It's like when Jobs insisted on the Macintosh having that graphical user interface. Back then, everyone thought it was too complicated, but he knew it was the future.
Exactly. He trusted his instincts, he believed in his vision, and he was willing to fight for it. And that's what made the Macintosh a success and changed the whole computer industry.
Okay, so embrace those challenges, build up that resilience, and trust your gut. Got it. But is there anything else we can do to help us get to that unreasonable success?
There's one more crucial piece. You have to develop this unique intuition, this finely tuned sense of what's going to work and what's not. It's like having a sixth sense for spotting opportunities and avoiding problems.
Okay, so how do we develop this unique intuition? Is it something we're born with, or can we download it from the App Store?
It's a mix of natural talent and experience. Some people are just naturally more intuitive, but everyone can improve their intuition by practicing and paying attention.
So it's about being aware, noticing patterns, and trusting those gut feelings.
Yeah.
Like becoming a detective in your own life, trying to solve the mystery of what's going to work.
Exactly. And it's about experimenting, trying new things, and learning from those mistakes we talked about. Intuition isn't about blindly following rules. It's about understanding your field so well that you can trust your instincts to guide you.
It's like that Bill Bain guy, the founder of Bain & Company. He didn't have some fancy MBA, but he just had this incredible ability to see which companies had potential and come up with strategies that helped them grow massively.
Right. He was known for his strategic opportunism. Like he could wait for the perfect moment and then make his move with incredible precision.
It's like he was playing chess while everyone else was stuck playing checkers.
Exactly. And that kind of strategic intuition is so important for achieving unreasonable success. Knowing when to wait, when to hold back, and when to go all in on an opportunity is key.
So today we've learned about embracing challenges, building resilience, trusting our gut, and honing that strategic intuition. It's like we just took a crash course as how to fail like a billionaire and still come out on top.
But remember, unreasonable success isn't about reaching a specific destination. It's about the journey, the constant learning and adapting and pushing yourself further than you thought you could. It's about embracing what you don't know, trusting your instincts, and holding on to those ambitious dreams.
Because in the end, unreasonable success isn't about comparing yourself to other people. It's about being the best version of yourself, whatever that means for you. Whether it's launching a rocket, starting a business, or finally mastering that sourdough bread recipe that's been giving you a hard time.
Yeah, exactly. And who knows, maybe along the way you'll end up changing the world a little bit too.
So as you're figuring out your own path, remember what we've learned from the ups and downs of these incredible and sometimes confusing people. Embrace those setbacks, build up that resilience, trust your gut, and never be afraid to dream big, even if those dreams seem a little, well, unreasonable.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep pushing those boundaries of what you think is possible.
And hey, who knows, maybe someday we'll be doing a deep dive on your unreasonable success story.